So this is Quality Learning Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said they spelt learning wrong.
Don't open up!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million
Don't
over the
open up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that?
This also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen.
In Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Wills with Defining Ethos. So today we're going to take a look at Tim Walz's public apology, and I'm going to show you where the framing is misleading.
If you commit fraud, you should go to prison. We need to figure out, and we've done it over time, and there's still work to be done to prevent it in the front end. It's speculating, and I've said since I've stood up here, we certainly know there'll be more arrests, because I want to tell you a little bit on how this works yesterday, because there was a press conference. We're grateful. The U.S. Attorney's Office, I'm grateful for them. Their job is to build cases and prosecute folks and then put them in jail. That's what we do. But what they didn't tell you yesterday is that June I was given the authority to stop payments. The ones that stood up there yesterday and the folks they were talking about on the housing stabilization grants, we stopped payment on them in July and turned the case over to law enforcement to prosecute. And it's been very clear that this is being driven from DC, and I acknowledge it. Again, you're going to hear this from me. You didn't hear it the other night in a presidential address. This is on my watch. I am accountable for this, and more importantly, I am the one that will fix it. They're not interested in that, so they throw about these numbers.
So far, his message is a little bipolar. I'm tough on crime, yet they're taking credit for what I did. I'm accountable for this, but this is a political hit job. It's nice to hear that criminals should be arrested and I am accountable, but that message is mixed in with not enjoying being held to account.
Here's what I think to tell Minnesotans about the numbers. You should be equally outraged about $1 or whatever that number is.
So what he just did was reframe the situation. He said that we should be just as outraged at $1 in fraud as we should for whatever that number is. This framing makes us consider the moral action of the abuser of fraud, but that framing is simply a misdirection from the overwhelming mismanagement of funds. The outrage from the public is that if you're going to heavily tax the hardworking people of Minnesota, you need to be good stewards of their money. It's on the government to ensure that tax dollars aren't abused, and in this correct framing, if they found only $1 in fraud, the working people in Minnesota would know that their money is being taken care of.
But they're using that number without the proof behind it, and our team here could break down what that looks like.
So of the 18 billion, 6 billion ran through a managed care organization. So that's one level of vetting that they are charged with doing in their contracts with us. In addition, 10 billion of that 18 billion is subject to electronic visit verification. And that basically means that a worker that goes to provide services in someone's home is basically indicating with a timestamp when they arrived, when they left, what service they provided, who they are, and who received the service. So that's another level of vetting.
That's a complete misuse of the word vetting. That's not even definitionally vetting. He's just saying that people have to report in order to receive funds. But a vetting process would require checking in either by calling the person that they supposedly did work for or showing up to random job sites in order to verify. So here's a good example of what happens when there's no government vetting happening.
Camille Omar Salah, the owner of Safe Lodgings, Inc., another housing stabilization services company. As with the other defendants, Mr. Salah enrolled in the housing stabilization program and began claiming to be providing housing stabilization services to people that were leaving drug and alcohol rehabilitation facilities. Again, he did no such thing. Instead, he just submitted fraudulent claims for services that he never provided. He submitted more than $1.4 million in fraudulent Medicaid claims, which he used to purchase more than $150,000 in cryptocurrency, as well as to fund his lifestyle. We learned recently that Mr. Salah actually fled the United States, after his company received a grand jury subpoena for records related to its participation in the Housing Stabilization Services program.
This guy took in $1.4 million in fraud claims and never even provided any of the services. No operational business. He sent in claims, which Walz's guy claims is vetting, yet no one even looked in to verify.
I think a couple of things are important here with respect to the number. We've seen evidence of tens of millions of dollars in fraud to this point. We don't have evidence in hand to suggest that we have $9 billion in fraud in these benefits over the last 7 years. And if there is evidence, we need it so that we can stop payment.
So their strategy is plausible deniability, which is the ability to credibly deny responsibility or knowledge simply because they couldn't have known. But let me show you why this strategy falls apart.
We're going to a place called Mako Child Care, which actually has another child care registered at the same address called Mini Child Care Center. In 2020, one of them received $1.3 million. In 2021, they got $987,000. In 2022, they got $714,000. That's the last I have for that one. And then the other one, $1.604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about $800,000, and in fiscal year 2023, they got $904,059. This place right here.
There's your tax dollars.
Outside of it.
Well, this is actually 2 daycares are registered here. One of them is Mako, which you see on this sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year. And there are no children. Every facility that you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.
There are indeed no windows. All the windows are blacked out right here. All right, let's go in.
No.
And the child care center is locked. Should we ring the doorbell?
Yeah.
Try to get in, rang the doorbell. Nobody showed up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. it says here on their sign, yet there's absolutely nobody here. And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday. Now we're going to the next daycare center. How much money has this one generated?
This one, in fiscal year 2025, $1,042,059. In fiscal year 2024, $1,059,078. And in fiscal year 2023, $727,336.
This next one is literally 1 block away, and this one's also generated nearly $3 million in the past 3 years. Let's see if there's any children. Let's see if any of the buildings are open. Here we go. All right, we've arrived to ABC Learning Center. All the windows are blacked out. Let's see if anybody is here. This door is locked.
This facility is licensed for 40 children. 0 children. I've come by this place 100 times. I've never seen a child here, ever. The only thing I've ever seen is someone standing outside smoking.
What's crazy about this is that last daycare center is that green building right there. And the other daycare center right now is right here.
That's Nick Shirley, and I recommend subscribing to him for the real on-the-ground investigative reporting. But this is where plausible deniability falls apart. If the government is not doing their job in investigating potential fraud, they can't simply throw their hands up and say, well, we haven't seen it. They're not even looking for it. If you're the ones writing checks to unknown companies to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, wouldn't you go make sure the windows aren't blacked out and that they're actually set up the way that they report it? Many of these fraud schemes involve abandoned storefronts that have collected checks for years. You know how much money you could save the taxpayers of Minnesota if someone's job was to literally stop by and verify? So why wouldn't they do something that's so incredibly obvious? Now, using plausible deniability as a strategy in this circumstance gives 2 options. They are either incompetent or they are malicious. And you don't get to that level of administration if you can't understand basic administration. So I never allow people to act incompetent. And think of Tim Walz. Think of him on a grander scale. Like, what if he was the president? Take what's happening in the state that he runs and apply it to the whole country, and that thought should worry you. This level of mismanagement has no place in American government. So what do you think is the reason for this extreme lack of oversight? Is it simply incompetence, or do you think there's an agenda behind it? Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.